Good morning, and welcome to Strange Days, a show where people are invited to call in and share their experiences with both the audience and the host. Our goal is to foster a sense of connection and understanding, allowing listeners to relate to the stories and feel less alone, promoting a broader awareness of different perspectives, while the host is available to provide thoughtful feedback and support to each caller. My name is Mac, and I'm your host, a disabled, neurodivergent, cisgendered gay man. While waiting for an audience to form, I've been playing through Stardew Valley exclusively on stream. If you want to call in or chat and need my full attention, I have no problem pausing the game. And if you're here for the gameplay or the vibes, that's okay too. But without further delay, let's play. How is everyone doing this morning? I hope you had a great evening and are well rested. It's been a chilly morning, but pretty good actually. I'm doing great today. It's Friday, end of the week. It's been busy, as I'm sure it has been for everyone. Still working through on Stardew, trying to make it to that last little bit of perfection to the end game, trying to make the little bit of money I need to, well, little bit, you know, because 7 million is totally just a little bit. But yeah, just a little bit. Gotta get that last little bit of money. Making that reach to the, I think it's 10 million to get to the golden clock. So I can finally reach to perfection, so I can get the last little bit of achievement that I need, so that we can finish up and sort of clock out a Stardew. Ooh. Thanks, Jody. Needed some more fertilizer, I guess. Attempting to optimize as best I can moving forward for financial and growth, I suppose. It's not been easy. I've been doing a little bit of work on researching online to find out like what I could be doing to sort of optimize growth. But, I don't know, it's not great. We're about to enter fall in Stardew, which means we only have one season left for the piggies. I'm thinking about putting up a couple more barns, maybe, and seeing about switching over to coops and maybe doing some ostrich work. And chickies, and doing like mayo production, since chickies and ostriches will produce regardless of season. And I feel like that might be more productive as far as trying to overproduce on Ginger Island, because I was seeing some stuff about that this morning. Oh, not stupid buttons. You know, I built the farm computer, and I always forget that I can actually use it to detect things and see what is ready for pickup on the farm. But it's always... I need to actually pick up resources to bring so that I can build the next, like, shed. Stone, wood. I'm actually going to call up to the, carpenter. Nope, that is... Oh, no, that was actually the right place. Robin. To find out what she requires for the shed so that I can... make sure that I have what's required. Oh, just wood. Cool. You know, I wonder if the game actually requires like multi-years to pass for the child to actually like grow. Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna go ahead and put shed. Oh, come on, goat. Move your butt. No, let's go ahead and we'll put it. Yeah, we'll put it here. That's fine. I can always move it later if I need to. Do, 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 do. Nope, that was still the wrong button. There we go. I don't know what's wrong with my hands this morning. There are all sorts of thumbs, but not the right thumbs, apparently. Okay, so we take those, and we're gonna go start incubating some more ostrich. See, one of the things that would be nice is knowing the capacity of a given building, a given barn. So, like, if interacting with, like, the exterior of it would indicate, like, how the capacity is, or if there was some sort of visual... I wonder if those little dots above the hay piles indicates the capacity? No, but that would be a really cool indicator if that was the case. To show, like, if they were at capacity. That would be nice. Because then that way you would know, like, if you still have room in a building in order to incubate something, because otherwise you're just going to incubate and then it's going to complain when it goes to try and hatch that you can't hatch, and now you're stuck with something in your incubator that can't go anywhere. Also, how frequently do ostriches lay their eggs? Because if they lay their eggs, like, super infrequently, maybe that's not a good idea. Go with ostrich. They lay it every 7 days. So technically it's still a better rate than chickens, because chickens lay 1 egg every day, and ostrich eggs are worth 10 chicken eggs. Potentially. So let's see. Yeah, the ostrich eggs are still worth more overall. So it'd still be a better deal in the grand scheme. Oh, I do need to get another heater for the new barn. I should probably go and do that while Marnie's is still open. And I should probably go to the Lost Woods to go get the hardwood that's available there, since I keep forgetting to do that on the regular. Oh, good morning, Snaggle, or good afternoon, because time difference. You did some research. Go on. You have piqued my interest on which particular topic? And what, like, if that's the case, what of it? Good morning, Hilson. Afternoon. Sorry. Oh, okay. So it's an emerging field of research. I would be cautious though. And here's why. Because when we start drawing lines in the physiological, we start to look to point fingers at characteristics or imaging or features to design or to draw characters, and it may not be so clear cut. And we'll see things like the stereotypes, like the gay characteristics, like if your ring finger is longer than your index finger, you're gay, and stuff like that start to creep up. Or you'll see things like legislation where they'll say, in order for you to participate in sports, you'll have to get an MRI to have that section of your brain scanned to make sure that you're actually the gender you were assigned at birth. And we'll have to be careful of things like that creeping in to weird sections of society. And I mean, it is hard to see physically, but if we see science start to say things like that, we would need to be very careful about how people interpret it, because it's not necessarily what is factual, it's the way people take it. And it's a matter of what people do with the information. Because once people interpret it and run with it, regardless of what science says, or science takes, or future science, corrects, because science is intended to be self-correcting, it's irrelevant as long as the media continues to run with it in a different direction. So I just feel that physically defining things is a dangerous path to tread. But I find that interesting, though, that if there is something neurologically distinctive, and yeah, I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough to share that with us. That's interesting. I wonder if that's only if it's a consistent thing, or if it's an intermittent, like if that's a that is not something I had thought of, but that's interesting. See, this is why I love these conversations. Snaggle, I have honestly, like, between Al's, Hilson, and you, I think I have learned, I mean, not even between you guys, just the conversations I've had on this stream, I have learned a bunch of interesting things. And I appreciate everyone in here, in this chat, in this stream. I appreciate all of you. I have learned really interesting things. Some of the conversations have been difficult, but the information that I've learned. So I knew that there were variations in individuals with autism neurologically and physiologically. but the variations in those differences across the types of individuals with autism can be different, because there are people who have different types of sensitivities as autistics. And I found that interesting because I know people who have autism who enjoy like ASMR, and I know others who can't stand it. And I find that interesting. Yeah. There was I was watching TikTok, and there was a study that came through that somebody was talking about, where the other chronic conditions that that are comorbid with autism, we can hear other people's ears ring if you do it sensitive enough. Oh, no, that, like, the MRI pleasure sensor stuff, like, that's not uncommon. That's also how you can detect psychopaths and sociopaths, by providing them, like, gory material versus cute material. Like, pleasure centers is a great way to detect all sorts of things. Sorry, I wanted to circle back to Snuggle. Snaggle. What do you mean you can hear other people's ears ring? Like, are you talking about like tinnitus? It's a matter of arousal. It's the type of arousal. If you, it's one thing to be interested in interesting, because like I have tinnitus. My deaf ear now always perpetually is in a state of ringing. But I didn't know that. So Hilson, if you experience adrenal arousal versus interests, like engagement arousal. So like if you find it so you should not be aroused as a correct. You should not be aroused by gore. If you are aroused by gore in a normal sense, that is usually indicative of psychopathic or sociopathic tendencies. It is not conclusive, but it is indicative. But you have to understand what arousal means in this context. It means arousal, not... Yeah, so it means like adrenal, it means like your heart rate goes up, your eyes dilate, it means arousal. Really? So really, you like a literal hearing then? So no, that's a different. So Hilson, that can also be fear type. So that's a fear response. That's a different type of response. Snaggle. That's interesting. I would never have thought of that. So like I can't wrap, like my brain doesn't wrap around that. So they're actually hearing like a sound. So is it kind of like infrasound? Right, but goosebumps when you're excited are different from goosebumps when you're afraid. They are a type of arousal, but it's not the same. So I'm not sure how to distinguish it, because arousal, it is a type of arousal. If we put your head in water, give you a snorkel, use most. But is that the ringing in your ears? Is that you hearing the tinnitus, or is that you hearing someone else's sound? Because I hear ringing everywhere all the time, regardless. That's just the tinnitus I hear. Because as I said, yeah, so like I'm literally like my right ear, this ear, I don't know if you can see, because like I can't see back of my head, but like I don't know if you can see here. There's probably hair in the way, but there's a scar here. I don't have any hearing parts in that ear anymore other than the physical cochlea. They ripped out the bones for my ear, the drum, like everything. So I don't have any semicircular canals. I don't have anything for my ear in that part of my head anymore, except the cochlea itself. So I have no functional parts except the cochlea physically in there. So I can't hear, but all I hear is ringing now, unless I'm wearing my cochlear implant external tech. And so like if I'm laying on this ear, I can't hear anything. If I plug this ear where I'm hearing like an earplug or something, like all I hear is ringing. It's very obnoxious. But yeah, it's a very real sound all the time. And it was one of the questions I asked is like, if I lose hearing in this ear, or when they do when they did the surgery and I lose the hearing, will the ringing go away? And they were like, no, that's forever. If I were to go deaf, it's what I will hear for the rest of eternity. And I'm like, awesome. And it's very loud. It in fact contributes to disruptive hearing. So now that I can't hear in this ear, it contributes to noise, making it harder to hear in this ear. So it's awesome. But yeah, tinnitus sucks. And if autistic individuals have that as part of something that they hear from others, that sucks. Mine sounds like broken fluorescent lights. It just sounds like shitty fluorescence all the time. Like that buzzing sound from bad fluorescent lights, but loud. And occasionally it gets louder or a different tone. I didn't realize it was tinnitus until my hearing got wonky and I had to go in for testing. Because I thought everyone had it. I thought it was part of like the human condition. Like I just thought it was part of like, I don't know. I thought if everybody sat really, really quiet, that's just what they heard. then a couple years ago, when I woke up one morning, I couldn't hear the TV when I was laying on my good ear, and I realized that I had lost hearing. Right, so that's the fight or flight response. When you see gore, you should feel revulsion. You shouldn't feel attraction. If you're feeling attraction, arousal, that's an appropriate response. So if someone shows you a mutilated corpse, you shouldn't be like, sexy. And that's the inappropriate affect. And so if you're showing an inappropriate affect to it, then that's where the distinction can be made. Like, oh, I just showed you a mutilated corpse and you're showing signs of arousal. Ugh. Maybe you're a psychopath. If you want an example, one of these days off stream, I can show you a scene from a show that puts it into good framing and helps to explain it a bit better in context, actually. So it's not meant to be. So I used sexual in a sort of exaggerated fashion. So it's one thing to be interested. So like if you are a mortician or right. So Snaggle is contextual here. And that's what I was alluding to by saying like it can be indicative, but it isn't conclusive. So like BDSM, kink lifestyle, people can have other reasons. And that's why it's indicative, but not conclusive. And that's why it's important to understand that like if someone shows you a mutilated corpse or something that is extreme and you show signs of arousal, it depends on the types of arousal. And that's why sexual is not necessarily, like specific. It's sort of, it was meant to be sort of one direction. It's positive arousal, negative arousal, and it's where you're going with it. But so like if the example that was used in the show that I tend to rely on and think to is like showing people pictures of puppies versus pictures of crime scene, like photos. And so they're meant to be extremes. And he's showing these pictures to the people in the class and they're having responses to it. And at one point he shows pictures and he's looking at them and they're getting shown by a control person. And he's viewing them and determining what they're looking at. And at one point there's a student being shown pictures and he's guessing and he's getting them wrong. And as he's guessing and he's determining the student incorrectly, it's because the student is supposedly a sociopath or a psychopath. And it's because he's looking at pictures of puppies and he's not showing any type of expressions of like interest or attraction, or that the puppies are cute. Like he's not showing, like he's not showing any visual responses of that he likes the things that he sees. But it's so when I say arousal, it's not sexual necessarily. Like you do not look at pictures of puppies and go, sexy. But it's when you look at them, you have responses, like physiological responses that indicate that you like that. But there are responses that you have, but that's what you're thinking of as responses. There are responses that you have biologically that you are not necessarily aware of. So the arousal is a basic concept, but it's not the only thing. So there are subtexts and cues and components to physical responses to things. And again, it is indicative but not conclusive. There are other types of responses that we have. So there's a plethora of research into different types of physical responses that we have to different contexts and medias, and like we have reactions. Some of it has scientific like findings, and others have, research that I don't want to say refutes, because you can't prove a negative. But there is research that doesn't find support for certain claims. And so the idea is that we have natural responses for certain things. We have physiological reactions to certain things. And so you can look for and expect certain reaction. And some of it can be expected, but you also have to take in the totality of the evidence. That is true. And that's the whole totality of the evidence. So like another example is when we expect surprise. So if someone is surprised, we would expect activity in the forehead region. So if someone goes, this is not surprise. This is not the expression of surprise. Surprise involves the forehead. You would expect eyebrows, forehead region. You have to expect it up here. However, if someone has recently had Botox in the forehead region, that would negate the forehead area, but you would need to know that information in order to account for it. And so you need to know the totality of the information and the totality of the evidence. If somebody was raised in the wild, literally by wolves from the age of 2 until 12, they might react differently to crime scene photos. So And there's no problem with that. Some people find comfort in different things. There's no issue in it. It's taking in the totality of it. But there are expectations that there are and that's where, again, it takes the totality of the information, and you have to take the understanding, and that's why we work within the standard expectations, and then we have to make adjustments in accordance. And that's also why, where it comes with, as we move in research, I continue to be a proponent of moving away from a null hypothesis testing, because I think that the old method of statistical analysis is antiquated and problematic, and we should be moving towards Bayesian statistical assessment, because it modifies the way we do statistics to adjustment rather than working with standard distributions. Because I think the old way we did it was not so good. At least the way I was trained on how to do it. But that's just me. Because I think p-hacking and working with predetermined cutoff scores is bad. You think I was taught wrong. You know very little of how I was taught. But it's not a matter of method of teaching. I think that null hypothesis testing is antiquated. I think that using a method where we don't test our hypothesis, we test the opposite of our hypothesis, and that we have a litany of assumptions that we have to test against. And then if we violate them, we're still going to do the analysis and then just admit that we violated these assumptions, but still go forward with it anyway, is flawed. And that I think that the method that we approach goes, I think that our method is potentially going to violate the assumption that there's a chance that we're going to violate type 1 or type 2 error. But that's okay, because we're going to set it to be alpha of 0.05 or 0.1 or 0.001 or 0.01, and that's okay. Or we didn't find significance, and hopefully that's okay, and they'll still publish us, but maybe they won't. And then we get this file drawer effect of success versus not success, and maybe they'll publish us, but maybe they won't. And if they don't, then nobody will know about our research, but that's okay, because that's science for us. But if we work with Bayesian statistical assessment and analysis, then they should publish us regardless. And then we publish our data set. I just don't think that null hypothesis testing is the way we should be moving forward. And most scientists, well, I don't want to say most, but a lot of science is moving in the direction of Bayesian. I also think that science needs to move away from proprietary statistical analysis software too. I think we need to stop using IBM SPSS, Minitab, SAS, MATLAB, and we need to start using open source statistical software platforms. Because paying through the nose for stats software is really, really dumb, and we need to start teaching students how to use the open source platforms. We need to start using R and Python. I think that Bayesian is honestly easier for people to wrap their head around than like NHST, and it's a lot harder for people to like p-hack and type 1 and type 2 error out of it. It would also be easier for people to take the prior models and posterior models and apply them as prior models in future research. I'm not saying it makes it better. I'm just saying it's easier for them to pick up as a way to move forward. And it doesn't mean better. It just means that it's already hard for them. And if they're going to make a transition to changing a whole bunch of stuff, like, why not do it now all at the same time? But they're not going to, because a lot of the academics would have to also pivot like, they're not going to do it. Like, that's the big crux of it, because a lot of the academics would have to make a change altogether anyway. That was my biggest issue, just generally speaking anyway, because the faculty would all have to learn these things too. It's all just a big bug with thousands of loopholes, and I mean, the stat software isn't like, I don't really see that being as big of an issue. R and Python are open source, so like they get fixed regularly when there are problems. It's honestly why I prefer to use the open source stuff versus the proprietary. Because then if you are a programmer, you can also contribute and fix them. And yes, I will also contribute that it is a very fucked system. It's part of why I also wanted to try and climb the ladder, to hopefully try and get involved, to see if I can try and contribute to fix things, but it's very cold up here. Yeah, I definitely feel you there. Like, Python's okay, as like I definitely 100% agree with your it's okay-ish. I love R. It is my favorite place to work when working in stats. I did my dissertation in R. I love it very much. It's my preferred playground when dealing with data. I work in Python too. I just prefer to work in R. But, you know, no, it's slower, but I just prefer to work in it. It's just nicer to work inside of as a code base for me. It just works more fluidly, and it has nicer features as far as I'm concerned. But they both do what I need them to do, generally speaking. Oh, goodness. I mean, they're both pretty snappy for what I need them to do. I haven't had anything that they've been unresponsive for. Even when I've worked with video and image data sets in large scale, Python's worked pretty quickly. But also, to be honest, a lot of my data has been behavioral. So the few times that I've worked with video and image stuff that was like surface transportation, it was still pretty responsive. So like it wasn't too big of an issue. But I am going to have to wrap up this morning's session. Oh, I mean, I haven't had to work on anything quite that scale, but not yet anyway. I'm going to have to wrap up this morning's session because I do have a work support meeting to go to. Because I am still looking for work of a traditional setting. And so I'm going to go to a job finders meeting. I will be back this evening. Well, let me know how that goes, Hilson. Maybe we'll talk some more later this afternoon or this evening. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. You take care of yourselves. And thank you so much for being here. And I am grateful for all of you. And you take care of yourselves.